We've got a cracker of an episode for you this week as we discuss The Witcher 2 on Netflix, the potential of a Red Dead Redemption movie, an upcoming Splinter Cell remake, and our game recommendations from the Steam Winter Sale. And after the break, we give our impressions on The Matrix Resurrections.
Nick reporting in that giraffes have stolen all of Josh's facts.
I'm Josh, and much like Santa, I'm filled with cheer, joyfulness, and a slight sheen of sweat.
My name's Russ, and we are now sponsored by The Funt, now with curly toe hair.
I'm Andy. Welcome to Video Game Tango.
Yes.
Said with such authority.
So we've got news.
Newsday.
Big surprise. So we've got Henry Cavill recently in season 2 of The Witcher.
Yo.
Says that he wants to star in a Red Dead Redemption movie.
I watched the shit out of that.
That might be enough to get the ball rolling on a Red Dead Redemption movie. He's already shown he has a lot of sway in getting IPs created and in working in them, and I'm starting to trust the guy.
Also, season 2 of Witcher is fucking.
You've been watching it?
Oh, I'm already done with it, homie.
Yeah, me too.
I finished it. It was good.
Certainly.
It was good.
Yeah, Russ, did you? I know you watched it. Did you finish it?
I finished it.
Nice. Okay.
So good.
I loved season 1.
Yep.
It's way better than season 1.
It blows season 1 out of the
Thank
water.
you. Okay. I thought that immediately. I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
Yeah, I feel
really,
like
really good.
all the legitimate complaints that you could have about season 1, lackluster CGI, somewhat confusing timeline, storyline stuff, the blandness of just introducing character backstories, all that's like done and over with, and they jump into season 2 and they're just like, all right, here we fucking go. Hope you're fucking ready for this shit.
Yep.
And it was fantastic.
So good. It seems like they got a bigger CGI budget and really made good use of it. Everything about the series has gotten better since season 2 started. They did release all of the episodes on release day. They're not doing it weekly, which is awesome.
And also sad because now I have no Witcher to watch.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic that I was able to binge the first 6 episodes in the first evening. But then I was really close to running out of The Witcher, and now I have.
Yeah. Yep. I'm oot.
So kind of bittersweet. Way more sweet than bitter.
More sweet.
I have nothing but good things to say about The Witcher season 2. It's been fucking fantastic. And to see Henry Cavill in Red Dead Redemption, I'm in it. I'm about it.
All about it.
All
Who
about
would he
it.
play?
Arthur
character?
Morgan.
I would assume so.
He's going to have to get less fit.
Arthur Morgan's
Going to have to.
I mean, up
Christian
until
Bale
he
it
got
up.
the consumption, he's a fairly fit dude. So
He is. I mean, as long as they get the right man for the role, I don't care that he's a bit buff, to be honest.
Physical characteristics of his body are somewhat less important, I think, than just his clothing and demeanor would be.
Certainly. And I kind of feel that way about Geralt in The Witcher. I feel like he's a little bit too big to be playing Geralt in The Witcher.
That really depends on which Geralt's your Geralt. I mean, he's been portrayed as like skinny waifling elf status to jacked fucking gym bro. So,
I'd like to see him in any role that he fits. I think he is a good actor, and he definitely brings a lot to the table when it comes to source material on nerd things like The Witcher.
not having played any of the games really, my loss, or reading any of the books or anything like that.
Oh, Witcher. I thought you meant Red Dead. I was very confused.
That ending though, dude, I almost dropped my plate of food.
Yeah.
Like I was straight up fucking blown on that. I had no idea that was fucking coming. It was dope.
Henry Cavill blew me.
something I actually realized watching the series is that I was operating under the assumption that I have played both Witcher 2 and 3, and I thought I had read all the books, but having watched season 2 and confirming that they are sticking to the primary plot points of the book series as their main driving force, I realized like I don't think I actually read all the books, so I could download those, and I'm doing that now, which is both like I was like, oh no, I don't have the lore, and then I was like, oh yay, I get to consume more lore. Did you just blue screen your computer?
I wasn't even touching it.
Nick's
Computer's
over here
just like,
with the blue screen.
Fuck it. I'm
Yep.
I
restarting.
didn't even know that existed anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's got a QR code and everything, so you can look up how fucked you are.
Yep.
He still just pulls up a Google list of fucking like could be any one of these million
Oh
problems.
my! That is how it works. Yeah, I mean, I have to look up blue screens of death codes all day, and they're like, "Yeah, this is a generic problem. Your shit's fucked. You should probably check all things. It might be a program, a driver, or hardware,
Well,
or software."
I had 47 news articles that were extremely important and entertaining, and now they're all gone. So
Sick.
Aren't
Aren't they chromed? Once you reload
I'm
Chrome,
totally
won't it be
making
like
it up. I didn't have any.
Oh,
stories.
Okay.
Damn it.
Well, I've got more. We're getting a Splinter Cell remake. So there have been rumors flying around for quite some time about a new Splinter Cell game and possibly remaster of the original or older Splinter Cell games. But they're doing a full-on remake. So they're planning on doing modernizing a little bit, but staying faithful to the source material. Obviously, upgraded graphics. The game's been out for like 20 years. So I think that's exciting. Playing Sam Fisher again in the first one, I think is really exciting. I loved the first Splinter Cell.
Might feel a bit dated, but
Yeah. Having gone back a few years ago and playing the original Splinter Cell, yes, the gameplay did feel dated. I'm just hoping that they're able to kind of brush that up with a little bit of a 20.
who's doing the remake?
That is a good question.
I mean, it's an Ubisoft game originally, right?
Yes.
Probably.
I'm not going to find that Oh, yeah. Ubisoft Toronto.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I could take it or leave it. I really enjoyed the Splinter Cells that I played, but
Yeah.
it's one of the rare ones on my list that it's like a stealth game that I actually had fun playing. But
Yeah.
what I'd really love them to bring back and flesh out is the game type that they had in it's like either 2 or 3.
Soldier
Two.
versus spy.
Yeah, the Soldier vs. Spy stuff was neat, but I feel like they never really like had it flowing correctly or was widely enough accessible that people were like into it.
Well, and that was very early Xbox Live days too. Seeing it played now with, I mean, you have a larger source of people that are playing video games now, better access to fast internet. Xbox Live has grown and matured pretty significantly since then, and consoles that are day one meant to be played online. Online gaming is just grown so massively.
For like Xbox Ultimate Game Pass should be like Xbox, we've matured. Our player base hasn't.
That's true. The player base is still fucking your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And racist as all hell.
Yeah, so true. So yeah, I'm excited for a Splinter Cell remake. There's no like the release date is TBD because this is basically just getting off the ground, just confirmed.
Man, they released like every game that day. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's true. TBD. It
I
was
can
very
never find it on the calendar.
it was very important in our history.
It's Thursday before Thursday.
Which is last Thursday.
Is Thursday based off of Dor, Thor's younger problem child brother?
He got dropped on his head when he was a wee lad. It's Thursday. God.
So we've got more Steam Deck
That's why Thor
optimizations.
drinks.
And these optimizations are coming from Valve themselves, their own games.
Remind us what the Steam Deck is.
The Steam Deck is the portable that Valve is putting out.
Oh, like a Game Boy thing?
Well, I mean,
Thanks,
Is that what you mean,
Grandpa.
like
If-
handheld?
yes.
You didn't know what a Steam Deck was.
I absolutely knew what it was.
We've talked at length about the Steam Deck.
Was
So,
it a Game Boy?
so no, it's not a Game Boy. It's a handheld PC. I mean, it's quite literally. It's
Okay. It's a good boy.
That's so fucking. You know what I meant.
yeah, it's a handheld.
What kind of
So-
computer do you got? Is it a white one?
Yep.
Jesus.
it's,
Compact Presario, bitch.
it's beige actually.
You start making fun of me,
Let me
Josh.
have this. Let me have this.
What
It's
does it
the
mean to
only
clone
one.
a hard drive? You have like a bay full of biotic solution that you grow a new hard drive in?
I mean, let me have that
Wow.
So
Anyways,
So they're updating some of their current games, some of their current titles, like Dota.
Great, you can suffer on the go.
Well, it specifies Dota in this, but they're also working on Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and making sure that they're optimized for the Steam Deck. And, especially since it's a little bit weird to have games out before you make a console. Like, you don't typically see that. So usually, like, as console makers become publishers, they put games out after they've created a console. In this case, it's the reverse. So instead of like optimizing for something that already exists, they're taking something that already exists and then optimizing it for that.
But an argument can be made that you co-develop consoles and games so that when your console comes out, there's games to play on it.
Yeah. But you have like early dev hardware and stuff like that for game developers to use when creating games for your new console. But in this case, the games are like, we're talking Half-Life and Half-Life 2, which are made in engines that are now super dated and don't necessarily, like, resolution scaling and stuff like that has been a problem on especially the original Half-Life. So they're taking it and they're reworking it for modern machines and for the Steam Deck. Steam Deck specifically because it's got different control schemes, right? You don't have a mouse and keyboard, which is how these games were always meant to be played. So you have those touchpads and you have the analog sticks. The touchpads, if the Steam controller is to be used as reference for this, are probably going to be pretty fucking good. People that own the Steam controller really like it. And especially since the Steam controller has gyros and so will the Steam Deck.
The face buttons are like 3 miles away from the touchpad.
They are. So the mock-ups, well, I guess they're not even mock-ups. Those are going to be the release hardware. They look really uncomfortable. But from people that have gotten hands-on with it so far, everybody says that it's heavy but comfortable. So you probably wouldn't want to be holding it, up to your face for long play sessions, but if you had it in your lap or something like that, some against the desk and supportive.
It's no laying in bed with it over your face like you do with your phone. Right?
Probably not a good idea.
Drop that thing and lose 3 teeth.
For real, yeah. I have a little pocket emulator and I play that in bed pretty frequently. Same thing. Obviously, I use my phone in bed and dropping that on my face is a semi-regular occurrence. So
I thought this was out. Apparently, it doesn't come out until February.
Yeah, so it was supposed to come out Q4 of this year. It was supposed to come out right about holiday season.
I think it was logistics issues. That was mostly the deal, right?
It was what?
Logistics issues.
Yes, and I mean, so there's a massive chip shortage going on, and this isn't the only product using the AMD system on a chip that they're using. Although it is semi-custom, but it's not the only thing using that SoC. But there's logistics issues first of all, they weren't sure exactly how popular it was going to be. Of course, they had an idea, but as soon as they put it on pre-sale, they sold out. So it took a couple days for like millions of units to sell out in pre-sale. So pre-orders now extend all the way until the end of 2022. So if you haven't already pre-ordered one, you probably won't get one until late 2022 or 2023, potentially.
Cool.
That being said,
making 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that being said, it is, it's kind of a big endeavor by a big company. It's not like handheld gaming PCs haven't been done before. They have. There's several companies that do them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
But in this case, it's Valve, right? Mm-hmm. Which changes things, especially since the way you purchase them is on Steam. Mm-hmm. So it makes accessibility that much more, that much wider. I'm myself looking forward to seeing how the Steam Deck performs and, how it be do. I don't know if I'm ready to buy one.
It sounds to me like I'll never own one because they're a year back ordered. And maybe, I don't know, maybe by then we'll see if they make more.
Yeah, but by then we'll also be able to see if it was a massive train wreck, and
they're what, $400 right now?
I think they start out at $299 and they go all the way up to, I believe, $599 depending on the configuration.
Damn.
Which is just storage.
That's downright agreeable.
It's relatively affordable in the grand scheme of things.
Start at $400.
$400, okay.
Oh, okay. I mean,
That's still
Yeah.
console money,
Yeah,
right?
it is. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So being that they can be competitive with the current console market, and even something like the Switch OLED that just came out, what we were hoping was going to be the Switch Pro, but the Switch OLED just released. It competes in that market. Not just against consoles themselves, but against our current handheld
OLED's
market.
$350. So
Yeah.
$50 more.
So
About the same price.
if it can play most of the games I own on Steam, I might pick one up. That being said, every handheld that I've ever owned sits and collects dust. So I don't know. We'll see. I might just waste my money on it.
Perhaps.
Yeah. But on the topic of Steam, we've got the Steam Winter Sale.
Winter sale. It's
yeah.
kind of like fall sale, but it's a couple months later.
That's true. That's very much that. That should be their jingle, actually. Like updating Steam finishes, and you should get Russ's jingle at the end of that.
Yep.
So we have, I think all of us have curated a few games each that we recommend
Only
from
the
Steam sale.
finest choice cut
Yeah,
games.
The filet mignon of Steam sales.
Mm-hmm.
precisely. So does anybody want to talk about their list?
I'll talk about my list.
Yeah.
It's my
I've
list.
decided not to. I'm
Nick's
skipping.
just gonna keep. So considering the sales is listing a lot of the same games that were in the fall game sale, I decided to go kind of specific with the list, which was also inspired by Nick's wanting to kind of pick a theme for his games last time, I think.
Did I pick a theme?
I feel like you did.
My memory ends.
It was more
2
indie.
days in
Yeah,
the
I think you tried
past.
to go like indie and kind of more obscure for your
Oh yeah, I
choices.
kind of remember that now.
So I went board game themes because there's a lot of really
Oh,
good games that existed originally in a physical board game and they've made digital versions of. There's some great ones. The top of my list, number one, if you have any interest in playing board games, one of my favorites is Terraforming Mars. I actually didn't even know there was a digital version of Terraforming Mars. And I think that's a great one to pick up. If you're just getting started into something that's a little more complex than the Settlers of Catan, but still in kind of the same vein, Carcassonne has been out for a long time now, digital. It's pretty cheap. I would
Very
highly
good
recommend
game.
that. It's one I'm ashamed I don't have a physical version of for our collection. Following that up is another personal favorite that is great if you're a fan of D&D and the Forgotten Realms lore, because you get Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Also,
There's a digital version of that.
Did
huh?
not know there was a digital version of
Nope.
Lords of Waterdeep. It's a fantastic game. And then one I have not played, but was very highly reviewed from the board game season. Essentially, when they come out with when any big board gaming convention comes out, this game's called Wingspan.
Oh yeah,
We
Got
were
great reviews.
toying with the idea of picking up a copy or at least looking into it some more. We did not. Now there's a digital version, so check that out. And then last on my list is I put Scythe as the fifth board game just to keep the list together. I'm not a huge fan of the board game Scythe, and I don't really have any quantifiable reasons why that is. I've played it a number of times and it just doesn't strike my fancy, but I can definitely tell you it's beautiful. I imagine the art's going to transfer perfectly over to the digital, so you get to experience the very cool art style that is the board game Scythe. But I didn't want to. That's just to round out the 5 list. My last game to recommend on there is an indie game called Just Die Already. If you haven't heard of Just Die Already, it's made by the people that made Goat Simulator.
Oh,
You play an old person that has recently been kicked out of their retirement home into a world that just wants you to die already. So,
Oh, my God. Wow.
I can't. Why don't you just fucking die already?
Yep. Nah, it's,
Why don't you just die?
it looked. I watched some gameplay of it and
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm
It
watching
looked
it right now.
pretty fantastic. So
oh my.
Yowza.
you cruise around on like a moped. And,
Oh, yeah, I've seen this game.
yeah.
It does look like a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
And Goat Simulator was weirdly addicting for a handful of hours and stuff. And this one looks like it might even be slightly more entertaining to play.
The replay value of Goat Simulator was wild, especially since they kept throwing out more content. Just the amount of things that are hidden in that
Why, you
game.
could be different goats?
Yes.
Don't mean to be pedantic, but it looks like it is not the same developer.
It isn't? I could have sworn I
it's
saw
made
that.
by Double Moose, And at least on Steam, this is the only game they have on there because Goat Simulator is made by Coffee Stain. Coffee Stain also made Satisfactory.
I could have sworn, like, read the blurb
Galactic.
on Just Die. Just Die
Okay,
already.
I'll take a look at that. Josh, you want to go while I read through this? Oh,
Yeah,
created
sure.
by the designers of Goat Simulator.
Okay.
So maybe
Okay.
people from
That
Coffee
studio.
Stain like left or made their own.
Well, Coffee Stain is a publishing studio. They're a publisher.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
All right. So first on my list is Halo, the Master Chief Collection. So that actually has 7 games in the collection. Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary,
Bang for your buck.
Reach, Halo 3, Halo 4, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo 2 Anniversary. You get all those bad boys 50% off for $19.99. So that's a hell of a deal. Even Master Chief would look twice at it. Next on my list is honestly a game I've thought about picking up when it was full price, is Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks like it has a lot of fun gameplay, a fun soundtrack, and
Reviews.
35%. It has great reviews. I think it even won an award, guys.
Most Marvel game of all games.
It's 35% off at $51.99, or excuse me, 35% off at $38.99.
It's not bad for a
I mean,
really
it's
new
a fairly
title.
new title,
Yeah,
exactly.
Normally, like, a game going on sale like that means that their sales weren't quite what they were hoping they were going to be.
No, it did pretty well as far as I know.
I'm saying typically that's what that
Yeah,
means.
typically,
Yes.
yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
outlier.
There have been some recent games that they do show up on the Steam Autumn sale that were like brand new. Resident Evil Village went on sale for the Steam Autumn sale right after its release, so it does happen sometimes.
Well, as you said it. Resident Evil Village on sale, 35% off. Again, a game I'm thinking about picking up at $51.99. Pretty good. Pretty good. It
Hamlet
looked like a lot of
DLC.
fun.
Is Village the one with the
Dimitrescu.
yeah, Thicky
Yep.
McThick chick that like sent the
Yes.
internet into convulsions?
Yep.
And then a game I currently own. I did not pay this price for it. It would have been a steal at this price. Stellaris, 75% off at $9.99. Now, there is a rich modding community out there, y'all, and they will help you find wonders in the stars that you never knew were there. Check them out. Learn the base game first.
The
It's
entire
a lot of fun.
collection's like $95 right now, which is a lot less money than I paid for all the fucking
No,
stuff.
I mean,
when I was looking through the
if
Steam
you
sale,
can, get yourself a Nick to explain your way through the first
Yeah,
game.
add me on
and then,
Steam, and you can play all the DLC through my game.
so he's right there. He's right there. He'll help you.
I will talk at you for 3 hours straight.
I thought it was funny on the Steam sale list. It pops up with like DLC sales for games, and then like the list was 90% Stellaris
Yeah.
DLC. Yeah. The game's got a lot of DLC.
It does.
And then last on my list is another new drop. I unfortunately can't handle this one, but it looked like a lot of fun. Forza Horizon 5.
You can't handle this.
Yeah,
He's got poor handling.
It is only
Peugeot.
10% off at $53.99. So it's still spendy, but
10% off is not a sale.
it's not really a sale.
It's $53.99 for Forza 5. I mean, that's only a little over $10 per Forza.
Yeah, I mean, really,
You're getting a lot of Forza.
You get a lot of Forza, but
Five's
a really good friend of mine has been pretty much playing it nonstop. He has nothing but good things to say about it, and
Do you like looking at pretty cars?
and racing them.
No. That's not part of Forza
Just
5.
looking.
Just looking at them and washing them and going to the DMV to make sure that they're
No,
licensed
dude, my
correctly.
homie was doing all kinds of weird races and shit.
Russ, I think you're thinking of Forza 5 Simulator,
Oh, shit.
which is where you play a guy who's playing
10%
Forza.
off. So I mean, again, not a big deal, but you will save a few bucks if you decide to pick it up now.
Does DMV Simulator exist?
I hope so. For my list, I have roughly 9,000 games that are on the verge of being worth buying, in my opinion, and I've been keeping an eye on them for months or years, and it's hard to pull the trigger on them for various reasons. But out of that list, the ones that currently have my eye, and I'll probably end up picking at least one of these up, I have Endzone: A World Apart, which is a colony management game set in a full post-apocalyptic setting. So you're collecting and recycling plastic and dealing with radiation and raiders and whatnot, but it's kind of like a 4X colony sim. So pretty neat setting. Gameplay seems pretty good. Again, been following it a while. As far as the Eye is a game that I'm really like kind of hesitant on pulling the trigger because I'm not sure if it's going to hook me or not. But it's essentially like a light 4X game where you're like a mobile village moving through a fantasy kind of savanna desert setting. It's neat, but I don't know quite yet if I'm going to pull the trigger on that one. Riftbreaker is only getting better. I've been following this game for been out a year or two, I think. Kind of a mix of a tower defense and a RTS. You play as a big mech, and it's kind of like Factorio in that regards. Not nearly as complicated. Timberborn's on there, colony sim with beavers, just because it's getting really good reviews. I might get around to playing Disco Elysium, and Loop Hero is one that I think I've watched too much of to actually pull the trigger on buying it, but it's really cool.
I feel like I've watched Mike play that one.
Yeah, it's basically like a kind of a standard roguelike, except that your roguelike scenario is there's this road that is a loop, and your hero goes around it, and you add buildings to the road that make the enemies, that make the upgrades you get in this kind of never-ending procedural cycle and attempt to get strong enough to beat the boss at the end of the loop. So it's pretty cool.
Right on. Sounds like a solid list. I recommend Disco Elysium. It was it's weird.
It's pretty cheap right now too. $18.
Not bad. Well received. Riftbreaker's been kind of like, I've been side-eyeing it a little bit. It does look like a lot of fun. The combat kind of reminds me like a Diablo-esque, like what's the Titan Quest?
Titan Quest? A little bit, yeah. I've actually been playing Titan Quest.
Really?
They had an anniversary edition. I was like, looking through the high seas there, and no, I've been playing through it. It barely holds up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask if it holds up because it's
it
an
had
older title
multiplayer,
now.
sure, but there's so many quality of life things that are missing from a game that old that. There's a lot of DLC. I didn't play through any of the DLC, but I've got to get through the base game to get there.
Right.
And it's just a fucking slog.
DLC for that is only endgame?
I think one of them you can actually start at like level 30, but for whatever stupid reason decided, no, I'll just play it through from the beginning.
Sure.
And I'm like 5 days into kind of playing it off and on. I'm only like level 16, so I probably won't finish it.
Yeah, I can see it being a bit of a slog, especially if you played it already.
Yeah, and I beat the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
I just ran endgame content a lot.
It's a fun game. I never got to endgame, but like I quit towards the end of the leveling process. Yeah. As far as my list goes, I think anybody that knows me is going to be like, wow, that's not surprising. They're all games that I own.
Oh, can I name the list?
Yes. Please take guesses.
Stardew Valley.
Yes.
Terraria?
No, he's not a Terraria player.
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve might be a good one to put on the
because they got a
list.
new expansion coming out. Wow.
Risk of Rain.
No.
Oh, because I saw Risk of Rain. I think 2 is on there on the Steam sale.
Wait, are you serious? You're buying games you already own?
I'm not buying games. Yeah, I'm recommending them.
Oh, you're recommending them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's all DayZ on there again?
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes.
There's 2 of them.
Nice. That's all I got.
Deep Rock.
Real quick, that Frankie's back, right?
Yeah, dude, I wanted to talk to you about that so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought it up because I forgot. So Nick and I have like a special place in our hearts for a guy.
Weird guy bond over this YouTuber, Frankie.
So he used to be known as Frankie on PC in 1080p. He landed the name Frankie for YouTube recently, and he's made a kind of a big comeback in DayZ, which is awesome because I love watching that guy's gameplay. Now, as somebody that now actually plays DayZ, I have my criticisms about his playthroughs.
They're essentially like short 20, 30-minute mini films that are fully scripted, but don't necessarily always seem like they're scripted.
Yeah.
And they're like tangentially related from episode to episode. But yeah, he like went to Africa.
Yeah.
I got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And like he's just gone. He's like, yeah, I burned out on the internet. So
Yeah, I mean the guy was working himself to the bone doing. He was in university and doing Frankie videos at the same time, and Frankie really took the fuck off. Got way bigger than he expected, so it became, like a second job for him. So
He's worth checking out because if you like his content, he's
yeah.
got a huge backlog.
Oh yeah, and for a lot of DayZ diehards, like they got started on Frankie, kind of like I did in as far as DayZ goes, and then.
That's Ring of Frost and Some Pancakes guy, right?
No, that's Mike B.
Oh, okay.
I love him too. He also helped me get into DayZ. But Frankie was like, he really showcased the game.
He's good at it too.
He's very good at it. Yeah. Yes. And he makes the games definitely seem more accessible than it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not the most accessible game. That being said, I can play the same content in DayZ over and over and over and end up getting a different experience every single time, whether it be I'm playing essentially by myself on a server or I'm playing on a server where I have to wait for an hour-long queue to get in. Those experiences are totally different each and every time that I play. So I can't recommend DayZ highly enough. That being said, it's not for everybody. It's a tough game to get into, but I think once you understand the menu system, and chat brings up that I might like Tarkov. I might.
I've been like
I would
on the fence about Tarkov.
Dude, if you guys wanted to do Tarkov, I'll do Tarkov. The only thing keeping me
plays it. He's played it quite a bit.
The only thing keeping me from doing Tarkov is I feel like it's a game that I'll get lost in, like DayZ. DayZ is on, like, I come back to it pretty regularly, but I'm not no-lifing it like I was, and I'm worried I'm going to do that with Tarkov.
Yeah.
Is it a similar idea?
Well, it takes
like a survival game or.
Tarkov is a realistic multiplayer shooter, but you go into like a post-apocalyptic map and have to collect guns and resources that carry over between matches.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you die before you extract, you lose all the shit you're carrying.
That's a bummer.
Including the stuff you chose to bring with you on that mission. So you have to choose what you want to take with you to try to complete your mission. And plus there's there's bosses.
There's a bit more detailed than that, but I mean, as far as
there's a lot to Tarkov.
Nutshell.
And
it's a good way to look at it.
Especially since it's an ongoing game. Like, they just keep adding more content. Recently, they just added VoIP to the game.
It's not even gold yet, right? It's still essentially in like open beta.
I don't know if it's on full release or not, to be honest.
It's been like 2 years, but it's still like playable for 2 years now.
Well, it's probably going to suffer kind of the same fate that DayZ did. It's going to be in early access for years until they finally launch. Hopefully it won't follow DayZ's footsteps in that it went to 3 different engines before it finally did its thing. But we'll see.
It might become a Fortnite, which was
version 0.12.
Yeah.
That game blew up while it was still in non-full release.
Yeah. Well, and Tarkov is fairly large. It's got a pretty good fan base, and the people that play it are fucking diehard about it. So, but it's got a similar inventory system and a little bit of crafting and stuff to. Okay. It's like it's DayZ without zombies, kind of. Yeah. Pretty. I mean, a little bit less focus on survival, but and a little bit more on gunplay.
Okay.
It's very realistic shooter. So that's definitely a game that I'm thinking about. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I'd say it's like, I'd classify those as like mil sims, right?
Yeah.
Military simulators.
Yeah. Number 2 on my list is The Forest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is a game that we had a lot of fun playing together, and those are the ones that stick in my brain. So when something that was like that fun in a group setting is $8, it's like a no-brainer. It's something you can literally buy it for yourself and like 3 to 5 friends and pay less than you would for a full price game. So
what's kind of neat about Forest is if you play it single player first, it's probably going to be pretty fucking scary.
Yes.
And like mess with your head a bit. And then if you play with friends, it's a fucking riot.
Yes.
So it's kind of got both those ends of the spectrum on it.
For sure.
It definitely got pretty, like when you start going underground.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention to like the lore and you're just doing stuff, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I definitely say it was like comical 90% of the time, and then whenever we went underground, it got pretty intense.
Yeah, so I imagine just doing that single player. Yeah. All right. Any other?
Yeah. So you guys got Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley being less than $11. I think that's also no brainer. I think it's a really accessible game. I think most people would have at least a little bit of fun playing it. If you're into the Harvest Moon type games at all, it's probably the pinnacle of those.
Is it 2-player now?
It's 4-player. Yeah, so you can have up to, or maybe I think it's actually up to 5. I'm not sure.
Cool.
I've only played it with 4 people so far, which is also a blast, especially getting in voice and playing all together, and especially having different goals makes it interesting. I've had a lot of fun playing multiplayer, but most of my hours were racked up before they even came out. So,
what do you mean different goals? Does it mean like your end-game scoring goals for each player is different?
No. So the farm is still evaluated in the same way that it would be normally under in single player. When your goals don't necessarily align, so you share gold, or you share currency amongst all players on the map.
Okay.
So you can definitely fuck shit up, or be a bit of a bastard.
Rain on someone's potato parade
for sure. Or just somebody has an idea of what to do with that gold and how to make more, and somebody's like, I would rather just buy the new backpack. Yeah,
I'm not too proud of the fact that I'm one of the few people in the world who have lost at Stardew Valley. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I started playing it and I couldn't figure out what to do. There was a person I needed to find. I couldn't find him. 4 hours in, I quit.
Yeah,
it's like I messed up. I don't know what happened. So don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I think
I don't know how I did it.
I think there's a lot more joy to be had in the game than that.
Yeah.
Phasmophobia is another one.
Oh, I should have guessed that.
Oh, dude. So I was looking today while I was making my list, time spent in the games, and I actually have spent significantly less time in Phasmophobia than I thought. I only have about 100 hours in Phasmo. That being said, they've made some massive updates to the game, and the game plays. I mean, obviously the gameplay stays about the same, but there's just a lot more to be done. They fixed a lot of the gripes that I had early on in the game, like
That's pretty cool.
journal keeping is simplified now, but they've also made it a lot harder. Which I think
don't really think it needed to be harder.
No,
Maybe
I don't.
For
Well,
the experienced people.
Yes, exactly. I think it does well for the experienced people, but it also makes it so the ramp up between difficulties is a bit more severe than it used to be. So on day 3, you're not going to be running the professional difficulty.
Okay.
I always felt like the difficulty in that game wasn't necessarily like intentional game mechanics were difficulties as so much as like this is a game being made by like half a dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a little janky kind of difficulties.
I think there's a few games out there that every single person I bet would have a blast for at least half an hour playing that. And then you're quickly, depending on who you are, going to continue loving it or you're going to drop off hard. Like I enjoyed it a lot for about 2 days. And then I was like, okay, I've experienced this game. I don't want any more of it.
I'm bewildered that some AAA studio hasn't picked up on the fact that if they put a full development team behind making a game that was Phasmophobia, that it would crush. It would just destroy people's lives.
Yep.
Like, in a positive, fun way.
Perfect Twitch bait too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody would stream it.
That's why it took off, is because some of the biggest streamers caught that game early and it took the fuck off. Of course, it dropped a little bit before Halloween, so that helped.
Yeah.
I think about all the potential I can see in a game like that, and that's being kind of missed because they don't have a large development team to really push this stuff. I mean, it could eventually become what I think is there for potential. It's just going to take so much time that like this would be a prime time for a big studio to come in and be like, okay, we're just going to do this, and get it done in like 2 years and be like, boom, crush Phasmophobia. But I don't like scary games at all. But that whole concept of being like essentially ghost chasers and using all like the equipment that they do in the reality TV shows and stuff like that is a lot of fun. And really what they're missing is just like better, I feel like, monster mechanics. Like they're really not doing a lot. Like you read like how certain ghosts and stuff react, and you never really get a sense of that in the game.
I imagine you might if you played it a lot, but when I was playing it, like I said, for a couple days, it was just seemed like a crapshoot.
Yeah,
what we were doing was
yeah.
correct.
Well, it was either really formulaic, like you could identify what it was really early on because you'd played a little bit and you'd experienced that before. And then you could affect, like, there were plenty of games where I was like, I already know what this ghost is, and that's the goal of each level is to identify the ghost that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I would put in my hints, I would select it, and I would quit the game. I would, end the game, and I would be correct. That's not so much anymore. They've definitely made it a little bit less formulaic as far as like what ghost does what, and made it harder to identify. Certainly.
Did they fix the Slav Squad exploit in VR yet?
No.
Did I mention that on the podcast?
I've seen it.
The fact that you can squat and
I was playing it in VR, and I went to hide in a corner, and I just physically squatted down thinking, it'll be hidden better. But the ghost showed up on top of me, but it couldn't get me because my hitbox was so low. So I just stayed squatted and moved around the rest of the fucking match, just squatting down.
that is something they've definitely worked on quite a bit.
I'm sure
is the VR
fixable.
implementation. It's a lot of fun. And right now they have a special, a holiday season thing going on, which like adding Christmas elements to something that's already terrifying makes it that much more terrifying, I think.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's fun. And last on my list is Titanfall 2. I think everybody owns it and plays it, but if you don't, for less than $5, it's like a.
And you're just talking about the single
default
player, right? Because the multiplayer is completely bored.
Yeah, multiplayer. Obviously, we've talked about that in past
Not
episodes
an
of the
option
podcast.
anymore.
But the single player, yeah, absolutely. I'd pay $5 easy for that campaign.
Yeah, you get like a really solid 8-hour campaign out of it.
Yeah. And it is one of my favorite first-person shooter experiences kind of ever. It was fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any other discussion or news for video games this week?
I do not.
Nope.
All right. Well, then I think we're going to cut it to break. And when we come back, we're going to talk The Matrix Resurrections. There's going to be spoilers. So if you don't want to hear those, this is your week's podcast.
Yep.
So thank you
Thanks,
so much for
bye.
listening
Love you.
and watching. But when we come back, we are going to be talking The Matrix
Happy Festivus.
Resurrections. So today, The Matrix 4 Resurrections came out. We went to go see it on opening day. I think it was like the second showing of the day. Wanted to get in there early so we could share our thoughts with you on the podcast.
I was a little excited.
I was trying to temper my expectations and my excitement going into it because I'm a bit of a Matrix fanboy.
We loved the first one.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I watched it
big
back
time.
to
I
back
mean,
to back.
revolutionary movie. The second two, lukewarm, but I've warmed up to them a little bit more as time has gone on. I have my quibbles with them, but I think they are genuinely good movies. So I walked into this one trying to temper my expectations, but as we got closer and closer to the release date, my expectations began to grow, especially after seeing some of the trailers. I liked some of what I saw in the trailers, so I was like, okay, it looks like there's a little bit of fan servicey stuff in here, but it looks like maybe they're going for like a good faith reboot here. And of course, I did the deep dive like I usually do in Matrix lore, rewatching the movies and stuff like that.
I also rewatched the movies.
So I at the end of it, I was pretty hyped. I fucking hated it.
It's fucking terrible.
Drum roll. Yeah.
It was bad.
I don't think that if I'd had high expectations and walked into this movie, I think if my expectations were at their lowest, I still would have been dissatisfied with this movie. Not only was it not a good Matrix movie, in my opinion, not a good continuation of the story, not a well shot film, not a well choreographed film, brought nothing to the table in terms of new technologies or cinematic breakthroughs like they had with the first few movies. It just leaves a fucking dirty taste in my mouth.
Even the score was terrible.
Yeah.
Like the first Matrix movie is very notable for having such a kick-ass score to the action scenes. And
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And so like they're having these moments where they're just playing this like
I don't think I
generic
once
orchestral
recognized the music. Yeah, It was
the
so
kind of shit they
bland.
I did, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed and stuff because I'm gonna go into this expecting them to have like a good soundtrack selection for these scenes, and they went like just super generic orchestral action movie music for like a lot of it. Like it caught me at one point. I'm like, they're trying to elicit emotion out of this scene by playing the most generic background noise they can. It's ugh.
So, like on music, so they ended this movie with "Wake Up." So they ended the first movie with the song "Wake Up" from Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
Rage Against the Machine being one of my favorite bands, that was like such a like exciting song to end on. That soundtrack was made for me. I don't know if you guys recognized it, but they did like a stupid lo-fi girly remix of the song at the end of the movie.
I felt like I was listening. I was like, I feel like I'm expected to know what song this is,
Yeah.
but I didn't pick up on it.
Well, it's because they did such a fucking bad job of redoing that song.
I didn't notice that it was a remake of Rage Against the Machine, but what stood out to me was the fact that that was the most upbeat rock-esque song that they played
Yeah.
the entire movie, and it came in
At the
as
very
literally like
end.
the closing credits for the movie.
Right. So,
I didn't like any of it. Well, I mean, there was certain points at the beginning where I was like, okay, there's a little nod here, a little nod there. I enjoyed MPH, but I think that's just Neil Patrick Harris. I enjoy him in anything.
Yeah.
I think it was because he was the only character with any personality besides maybe the new Agent Smith.
I
Kind of had a little.
I
bit
kind
there.
of I kind of dug the new Agent Smith. He reminded me of the dude from Always Sunny.
Dennis Reynolds.
Yeah, he reminded me of Dennis.
Glenn
but if-
Howerton.
Yeah, but if he was like really good at being a bad person.
Yeah, Josh said that to me at the theater. I'm like, yeah, successful Dennis Reynolds.
Yep.
honestly, Glenn Howerton might have been a good person to play Agent Smith.
I mean, they got a guy that looks like him, in my opinion. So I mean,
I
looks
watched
like
that character
dude.
the whole time. I'm just waiting for the real Agent Smith to come back. Like I was just, that's what I wanted to happen. If you're going to put him into the movie, especially in a role that we determined is like completely unnecessary to bring him back into it.
So
Yeah.
I was hoping at the very least
feel
he'd try
like,
to match his voice cadence, and he talks so quickly. I was like, just
they had
slow
one scene
down a bit.
The scene where they're talking back and forth in the office the first time we meet
about
him
developing the game.
and rebooting the Matrix trilogy. He does try to come across as sounding like Agent, like
bit.
not voice inflection, but cadence definitely.
Yeah.
But it's not, you can't capture what's the actor's name that plays
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving, like iconic,
Yeah.
you know? And so to try to replace him in the movie was a poor decision.
Yeah.
If you can't get him back to reprise his role, then you write out Agent Smith.
Yes, I agree. I mean, Agent Smith is supposed to be no more.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't. I mean, he didn't need to be brought back.
No,
Yeah,
he didn't.
no, I mean, leave him out. But then, like at one point in the movie, there, like Morpheus is describing himself as a program and a combination of bits of Agent Smith, because he is Agent Smith at the beginning of the movie, and then he gets freed, and then he's more like. I mean, honestly, I feel like the duality of
Is
that
that
character.
what they said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I
when
missed
he's
that entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly feel like the duality, like that would be way cooler to explore than if you can't get Hugo Weaving back, then do something really weird.
Yeah, if you can't get Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne back, and you're going to merge those characters, maybe just fucking merge those characters.
If he was merged with Morpheus, then who was the Morpheus nanobot swarm in this?
No. So the Morpheus black guy in this movie,
Started off the movie as Agent Smith.
he did. They called him Agent Smith.
I missed that entirely.
So you know that scene where they're in the key shop and he pops up back up out of the door and he's kind of like tripping on the drug.
Okay,
They go
you're
Agent
calling-
Smith. He's like Agent
Okay,
Doherty.
I remember he was an agent. I didn't know he was supposed to be Agent Smith.
Well, so later on when he shows up in the bathroom to first try to get Neo to take the pill, he tells him, I think is in that scene that
Yeah.
he's
Yep. Yep.
his creation that is a melding of Morpheus and Agent Smith.
Okay.
Because they're the two people who helped make the one, right? And like I feel like that is a way more interesting aspect to kind of go over, but I didn't care about any of the characters at all.
The whole movie, to me, if you watch it, it could have been cut down to like a 10-minute SNL parody of the Matrix. Like they got like it's the anniversary of the first Matrix movie coming out, so we got all the cast members together to make a parody, a short 10-minute parody of this, and that would have been the summation of this movie.
Yeah.
Instead, it was 3 hours of exposition and dumb shit.
Really bad exposition too.
So bad.
The exposition in the Matrix movies has never been incredible. Mostly because there aren't too many good actors in the Matrix movies. I mean, let's be honest. Like, Keanu plays a very good Neo. I've never cared for Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity personally. Lawrence Fishburne, I think, does a really good job and carries a good tone throughout the movies. But the guy they got to play him didn't fucking do that any justice.
No. Literally mocked Morpheus through the entire movie.
Yeah.
He would say his lines as serious lines and then like joke it off.
Yeah.
And then like the only use of their groundbreaking technology was to mock their groundbreaking technology.
Literally making fun of bullet time throughout the movie and then using it against them later on in the movie.
I mean,
it's
like,
bullet time plus max.
Yeah.
Like that scene with NPH doing that I enjoyed that, I guess. On
also,
one level,
made no
it's
sense.
Just,
they don't explain that. Like,
it's just all of a sudden,
time, which is apparently reversing time is better bullet time.
And why would the machines use bullet time? Like, I don't quite understand that. Just they're slowing down time. Is that what it is?
Nah, homie, what they're doing is on the blockchain. They're just funging it.
They're just funging it.
They're just funging it.
Movie suffers from a problem a lot of milquetoast blockbusters do, is that they'll define these things within the movie, like what Keanu can do and what Aiden Smith can do, or this, that, and the other. And then they just use them when necessary for the plot. Yeah. Like Neo's powers in this, he had to get his mojo back. They say as much, and I guess he did. But then, like, he struggles sometimes to do things, and other times he doesn't.
Yeah,
and it's like,
to be fair, he never gets his mojo back.
No.
Yeah, he never gets to the point where he was. So all we know as audience is that anytime Neo's threatened, he's going to have just enough mojo at that moment to pull a Matrix Neo thing to stop it. Like the number of times I was starting to count him flipping over cars on the motorcycle 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, yeah, another car's coming at them. I wonder what Neo's going to do. Oh, just force blast it away.
Yeah.
And then he struggles against bullets in the hallway and then goes upstairs and doesn't struggle against helicopter bullets,
So for me, that's
all over the place.
That's just like, they're like, hey, we really want to do this really awesome fight scene. And Keanu Reeves was like, okay, yeah, dude, that would be really like cool. I really like that idea, but my knees say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but like force push.
At some point, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm in a weird Matrix movie. And then it turns into Ocean's 12.
Oh, yeah, just for like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you son of a bitch, I'm in, I guess.
Random heist movie.
And like at one point, Andrew leans over and he elbows me and he's like, any second now, an Asian circus guy is going to unfold from a thing. And then all of a sudden the Morpheus beads fucking roll out of the goddamn thing. And it's like, oh my God. It really was. It was like, we got a little baby heist movie in there too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to know, like, Jada Pinkett Smith reprising her role as Niobe, but
I did not like
90-year-old Niobe. Yeah, it was terrible. Anytime you put someone in old person cosmetics, it's
just find an old lady.
They recasted some of the most important fucking characters in the.
But they're
going
to bring her back in old lady makeup.
I wonder if she found out they're making a Matrix movie and didn't invite her back, so she was like, angry.
She was one of the only ones to volunteer for this movie.
Like, I guess we got to bring her back.
I feel like they didn't get Hugo Weaving because A, he's not as nice as Keanu Reeves is, and B, he managed his money better than Carrie-Anne Moss did.
Well, and he's been in movies since.
Hey, Carrie-Anne Moss was in Jessica Jones.
You keep saying stuff, but ugh.
apparently he wasn't involved due to a scheduling conflict. That's what I would tell them too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm busy.
That's the classic, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry, I'm making a good movie.
Oh yeah.
it's
So
filmed on my own phone during the 6 months that you're filming, but
the end goal. So basically, at the end of the third Matrix movie, the machines have come together and they're literally talking with Neo and saying, "We'll come to some kind of agreement here if you can stop Agent Smith from duplicating more. If you can end Agent Smith." That's why they allow Neo back in the Matrix. That's why we get the last fight scene with him between the two of them. And then they put him back into the Matrix after they remake it again. Like,
we didn't even do that. They literally rebuilt his body with all the implication it means to have died, and then these machines can just put you back together.
Right. So, like,
No.
no. Also,
No.
Agent Smith calling Neo Tom.
Yeah, that was really
throughout the whole fucking movie. Dude, he's Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
That is literally
That's some
your
millennial
number one
bullshit
line.
right there. That's some millennial bullshit right there.
Ugh, fucking gross.
Fucking 8 hours of exposition in a 2.5 hour movie, and yet the time that they devoted to explaining this whole concept that the machines themselves had a power struggle between factions and one of them took over was like 2 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Got like
They're
one
like,
CG cutscene.
Yeah,
of
one
them
scene,
fighting.
like, oh, they're fighting, or like, oh, cool. And they're like, okay, well, that's all the backstory you get about why our entire plot exists around.
They even threw in a cutesy, funny, sidekick, sarcastic robot.
Yeah.
That gets like 4 seeds. They mentioned his name, I think, at one point.
The little stick bug looking one.
The little snarf thing, yeah. It's like, what? Well, thanks. I guess that's what Matrix needed, was a jaunty sidekick.
There is an aspect of this movie that felt like instead of making this movie for fans of the Matrix trilogy, they were trying to add enough in to capture like the same problem that like a lot of big release movies have, is they're trying to pander to every audience in some way instead of making a good movie for the people that like the movies they make.
Yeah.
Put everything we can in there.
Yeah. So they have the cutesy robot creatures and
Looks like a shitty Transformer.
Yeah.
It looked like shitty Transformer tech.
Honestly, it looks like one of the little Transformers from the Transformer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and
WB
Like
make the
someone gave
Transformers?
a used
No, that's
needle
not WB.
sentience.
I can kind of appreciate some of the machines defecting essentially from either side and kind of siding with the humans.
I mean, sure, whatever.
I can get over that because that's what they did. I mean, there were literally defectors from both sides of the machine armies.
there's an element of sense that makes that if you have a race of sentient programs and machines, that some of them might decide that they want to aid and
humans.
assist the humans in
Sure.
what way they can, because it's an entire race of machines. But the problem is that they never really established that like the machines themselves were a bunch of sentient creatures. It was all just part of the one Matrix program.
Right.
Right. And then, but
From what I gathered, and I could be wrong, but I gathered they were essentially hive mind.
Right.
Like those robots were just appendages of the thing that ran the Matrix.
But
right?
they kind of start touching on that in Matrix 2 and 3 when they have the rogue programs that they have. Is that okay? It's possible for these programs inside the Matrix to act outside their programming, which I guess kind of applies to Agent Smith as well. But they definitely never like alluded to the fact that they all have personalities and it's like a whole civilization of machines that are working together. Because I mean, am I wrong in that when they did the anime prequel stuff about like the Great War and whatnot,
The Animatrix?
yeah, I thought that was implying that there was kind of like one hive mind AI.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place.
It is. It feels like they stuck to the story enough to make another Matrix movie, but that's it.
By the end of the movie, like I was thoroughly baffled as to how this could go anywhere other than now the robots attack the humans again. Right? They're just gonna have another attack on Zion because
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, that's what else. What's going to happen? They either don't, or if they don't, like, then there's no plot. They're like, oh, the humans won. I guess that's it.
They make this weird comment when they're going through that granite wall into the new Zion area.
It's like, oh, really good at hiding.
Yeah, that's like we had to get better at hiding. I'm like, well, why do you have to hide it all? You're at peace with the machine.
I was waiting all movie to find out why they were still hiding.
Yeah.
And they never explained it.
And also, if you're hiding,
they
but you
kind of
have
did.
no, because you have programs that are there. The programs that exist in like bead form, like nanobot bead form, those are clearly still connected to like the Matrix because that's what they exist in. So how are you supposedly hiding from the machines when you essentially have like Wi-Fi access?
They talk about like when they red pilled Morpheus and he stopped believing in the election. 'Cause he's crazy. When they red pilled him, they're like, oh, disconnecting a program is kind of like so they're disconnecting from the Matrix. They are disconnected from it. That was like a one line, literally a one line drop.
So then where do they exist?
Yeah, dude, I don't fucking know.
There's still a program somewhere.
That's actually, they could exist in the construct.
Yeah, like
because when Morpheus is in the construct, he says like, "This is my new home now." So I guess that and that's like the in between. World.
Yeah, okay,
that does make sense.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, the construct itself doesn't make any sense if it doesn't exist as part of the Matrix, but they've established that is like an in between world. So.
It's the pre-game lobby.
Yeah, it's a loading screen.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like super mean, but I just feel like Trinity should have died. If you're gonna do more Matrix movies after this, she should have died, and
she
then
died.
Did she die in the third one?
Then Neo goes all
John Wick.
Someone got it. Thank you. Someone killed his Matrix dog, and now he's upset.
Ooh, you probably should reference.
Oh shit! That did.
His dog.
Inspired his in Matrix Vengeance. Sorry, I didn't mean it that
Killed
way.
his love.
Killed his love. The only thing left that he loves, and now he has to Matrix Vengeance. I don't know. Just
there's literally a dozen different storyline paths that we could think of off the top of our heads coming out of that theater that would have been way better.
If I could suggest anything, it would be to
Marvel crossover.
Go and
I watched Spider-Man, by the way.
Develop
fantastic. Go see
IP.
that. Not Matrix.
And do a new thing.
I do want to touch on that though, because I was actually kind of surprised. Because like, not that it was a good movie, because I also think that it was going to be a good movie. But a fantastic seems like have you enjoyed all three of the Spider-Man trilogies? The new one, sorry, the new trilogy.
It's fantastic in the sense that I was going there expecting a Marvel movie, which means that my bar wasn't set like amazingly high, and I enjoyed it. I think that the fan service they did was not cringy, and it had me laughing. At one point, like I almost grabbed my head in like suspense. I was like caught up in the moment.
But have you seen the Tom Holland ones? Have you seen the last two?
I haven't seen Tom Holland. I've seen the original Sam Raimi ones, I think.
Oh, so this is your first Tom Holland Spider-Man?
Yeah, so the second Spider-Man, like
that's
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, yeah, I haven't seen any of his.
Okay. Or the first two Tom Holland ones.
I think I saw the first. I saw the first one where the guy drops
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay,
that one's okay. Yeah,
that's the important one.
Yeah,
the Mysterio one's good too, but
I didn't see a Mysterio one.
I liked the Mysterio one, but it wasn't nearly as good as the first, in my opinion.
It's a bridge. It's literally it's bridging the storyline from after Iron Man dies and all that stuff. But anyway, sorry, I'm very glad you liked it because that's a good endorsement.
I'm anxious to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, big time.
Just go in there expecting a good Spider-Man movie.
Which Tom Holland hasn't really let me down on that aspect.
Nope.
So
yeah.
But back to this fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah. So I think the Wachowskis need to stop. They need to stop making movies.
I want them to transition into non-directors.
There you go.
Something new.
Yeah. That's fine too.
I think we needed another Matrix.
Go write fan fiction for the Matrix movies.
There you go. Because that's essentially what this is. It's fan fiction.
Bad fan fiction of the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I don't want Neo to be the hero anymore, so I'm going to fan fiction this stuff differently. And I don't think Hugo Weaving's attractive, so I'm going to make him a handsome dude. And I'm going to put young Garth Brooks as one of the ship captains.
Besides everything else, I think the thing I'm disappointed at most was the complete lack of use of modern day technology as a part and tied into the plot and the movie as a whole. Like we were kind of talking about how important technology was to the first one. And a lot of time has passed since the first Matrix. And like my mind immediately goes to like, what do VR games and chats look like within the Matrix? What if you had a movie based around the plot that the human batteries are nesting Inception-wise levels of VR and causing issues, right? There's something there, just off the top of my head. But we didn't get anything that was new. It was just all kind of callbacks to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the hallmarks of like the Matrix movies are good fight choreography.
Yep.
A good score makes you feel like you're involved in the action. Some excellent line delivery. The dialogue might not be great all the way through, but some
the
fucking
number
bitchin' line delivery.
Terrible one-liners that were prevalent in this movie, where they just say a thing, and I'm like, who wrote that?
I didn't think so.
And use of new technology.
Yeah,
those are like, and they missed the fucking mark on all of them.
So I want to touch on some of those individually. The line, "I still know kung fu," happened in the actual movie. Like I thought maybe that was just going to be trailer exclusive, because that's what they did with all of the rest of the Matrix movies. They made trailer exclusive content.
Yeah.
First of all, the entire story of the Matrix Resurrections is in the fucking trailers. You can kind of get it just from that. Save yourself all the money. Just watch the trailer on YouTube. Know that Trinity saves the day, and it looks like she might be the new one. And that is you've got the movie. Yep. The score was bad. We talked about that already. The cinematography, though,
Garbage.
One of the things that the Matrix movies were known for was like wide shots of action where they kind of showed everything, and it was really impressive. And not this up close shaky cam bullshit that every other action movie does.
Fight scenes like we talk about, I couldn't follow at all what was going on. They're cutting so much between punches.
It was literally just jump cuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you were watching a series of jump cuts where people's fists might have been flying, maybe their legs, maybe some guns. Yeah. Like watching it at 24 frames per second in a movie theater, you lost a lot of the action in all of that.
It was bad.
Now, I know the original Matrix have pretty classic action movie style sound effects for the fighting. You know, the sounds of punches and stuff hitting.
Cabbage crunching kind of stuff.
I feel like this one raised that to a higher level even.
Sure.
I don't know if it was just that the fight scenes themselves looked kind of ridiculous, so it seemed more exaggerated, but I felt like there was definitely something like extra about their fighting sound effects as go
Honestly,
around.
some of the Jason Bourne, chat's bringing up a Jason Bourne fight scene here, and some of the Jason Bourne fight scenes, at least in the first movie, were well choreographed. There was, I didn't feel like there was like 3 days of fight choreography, and they were like, all right, you're in the Matrix now, go for it.
I haven't seen it, but if I had to bet, I imagine the fight scenes in Taken would be a good, just shot in the dark, but like, I don't know.
I haven't even seen Taken.
I haven't seen the Taken movies either, so I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
But you have Keanu Reeves and stunt doubles that have played for Keanu Reeves in the Matrix movies and in the John Wick movies, and even John Wick has like infinitely better cinematography that happened than in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad because John Wick is fairly grounded as far as that goes.
Even the gunplay in this movie was bad.
Ass.
Like you think about, so the lobby scene from the first Matrix is by far one of my favorite scenes that's ever been made.
100%.
But then like in this one, you have scenes where it's like, it doesn't even look like they're trying to aim at stuff. They're just like, I have guns,
Point
so
your
I'm
general
killing you.
direction.
And then like, of course, the bad guys don't hit anything ever. Full stormtrooping. It's
Not even side characters who you don't even really know their fucking names.
For real.
Yeah, nobody dies.
They get in a
Not a single
situation
person
where they're
dies.
all going to clearly die, but then they get saved.
Don't. Which in the first Matrix movie, they killed almost everybody on the Nebuchadnezzar. Main characters that actually had lines, dialogue, and were important to the story.
I'm trying to remember who survives from the Nebuchadnezzar. It's
just Tank, Morpheus, Neo, and Trinity.
Yeah.
Everybody else dies. So 4 other characters die. Mouse,
APOC, and
APOC.
Twitch.
Twitch, and Dozer.
And Dozer.
Tank's
And
brother.
Dozer. Yep.
Yeah.
Another bad thing about the movie, all the side characters, almost all of them introduce in one scene back to back, with just like a quip and a name. It's like, I've immediately forgotten their names. You can't just dump 6 people on me.
Yeah.
30 minutes into the movie. It's like, oh, I got to care about these people now.
I don't remember the name of the blue-haired chick, which is like a pivotal character in the movie.
That's Bugs.
Bugs.
Okay.
Like the bunny.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
I didn't remember that line. And the bunny is important to the Matrix trilogy. Going down the rabbit hole. That's how we literally start.
And we know it's important because she makes a stupid quip about it and then zooms in on her tattoo so you could see the bunny. Throwback.
Yeah.
I think one of the worst scenes for me personally was when Neo was fighting the dude in the basement after they found the exiles or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like punching each other. And they're like, punch you. And like Keanu blocks one of his punches with his force magic. And they both stop for a second. I was like, oh, is this scene going to change? And then Keanu gets actually punched again. But then Keanu punches him. And they're just punching each other to no effect for no reason, just extending this fight scene out where every once in a while Keanu has his fucking powers for one kick or punch and then he doesn't for another.
There was also that moment where like they both go to punch each other and they just mirror their movements and hit each other's fists. And then they go to kick and they mirror their movements. And I'm like, oh shit, are we going to run into some sort of weird like
is there a
connected
reason for this?
But they're like, nope, that didn't mean anything at all.
So, but those were shot for shot. The same scenes that were in the subway station in the first Matrix.
Fan service for the original one. Like, we just got to put these in here for no reason other than fan service.
Even against the wall doing fucking Dragon Ball Z style
punching.
column.
I legitimately I'm wondering when I think about some of the scenes from this movie is how many of them are just replica parodies of the first one. Because I was thinking about there's a scene when Neo he wakes up in the bed inside the ship, and Bugs is there, a la Trinity being there when he wakes up. Mm-hmm. There's another one later on where he's in his bunk, and the chick comes in to express like her doubts, but like kind of wants to believe in the miracle. I'm pretty sure it didn't like Tank do that with him. Had like a kind of heart to heart with him before they went into combat. Yep. And there's so many times where they're just like, you know what this kind of reminds me of? The first of the trilogy of Star Wars.
That's yes, me too.
Really did.
Like they're just like we're gonna way worse.
Way worse than the 8th movie.
Yeah, because we talked about after it came out of the movie. Nick mentions like it's hard to capture lightning in a bottle twice, right? Star Wars remake came very close. They knew some key points that made the first Star Wars movie look and feel. They made it look and feel like
we were
Star
hopeful
Wars.
After that first one.
And they got really close. And it was literally just a recreation of A New Hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you knew that going in because you're like, okay, well, he's setting up the next trilogies. They've proven that like this feels like Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Cool. We're on board. You've got that lightning captured. Let's make some fucking magic with it. This is like lightning. We have a pickle in a Ziploc. That's kind of like lightning in a bottle, right? Like,
Andrew said something like this felt like a school project due Monday, and you wrote it Sunday night.
Well,
after watching the first movie.
Yeah, right? After watching the first movie.
The only thing that had me really apprehensive about this movie is that they shot it in like 2 months.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, dude, they rushed the fuck out of this movie.
I feel like some of those shot-for-shot remakes could have been done well. Deja vu was a big thing of the first movie, right? When you experience deja vu.
And then they threw that in this movie.
Yeah, I know. And it slams it in your face. And you're like, okay, so there's him being back. There's a glitch. So like him experiencing all this deja vu. That like, I feel like if they had fucking tried at all, you gotta keep in mind
20 minutes of this movie is probably them playing clips from the first movie.
I get that, and it could, and like I still feel like we could have got a better movie if they had done that better, like if they had done that properly. Like even redoing some of those fight scenes is fine. It's a deja vu. It's
this is a throw a dart movie.
Yes.
You can throw a dart at any point in this movie and say like, if you had done that part better, this would have been a better movie because it's all bad.
Except you're gonna need like 40,000 fucking darts.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
You're gonna need a dart for every shot, for every
Why
storyboard.
did the Oracle's robot look like some weird blue falcon jellyfish? It was so out of place compared to every other robot they had. Yeah, like what? Why was it invisible? That was never used.
If it had invisibility, why didn't it just
How to Train Your Dragons?
It's literally an eagle from Lord of the Rings. Like, just get the invisible fucking robot to do all the MacGuffin shit you need done.
Yeah. She Deus Ex Machina, the fucking transfer.
Name of the game company, by the
Trinity.
way.
Yeah.
By the way, like
I didn't understand anything about that scene.
She was supposed to transfer Bugs into her. I'm like, oh shit, Bugs is gonna get like trapped in the Matrix as Trinity's like Matrix body,
right?
And then
Something
they fucking edged their aneurysm, and then they were both out. And I was like, oh, okay,
we win.
I didn't understand that. So
I could not wrap my head around what happened.
So the plan, the
But
Ocean's
we were
11,
already gone.
The Ocean's 11 plan was to put Bugs, was to put her in the Matrix in the place of Trinity during their great heist of Trinity. But they did this weird fucking back and forth where they're stabbing each other's brains for a minute, or each of these women's brains over and over, and swapping their places and shit.
I don't even think it was supposed to swap places.
I think the switching in the Matrix was supposed to be like
they were supposed to merge them.
No, so what I think it was they talked about without a pill, disconnecting her would probably just kill her.
Yeah, too traumatic.
Would be too traumatic. So what they somehow did was they took her, they put in Bugs, and then somehow transferred her into the robot thing.
Yeah, into the friendly robot.
While Bugs was kind of a conduit of some sort in between. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
And
if you're going to spend the entire movie in exposition,
Bugs can just be unplugged while they're escaping with Trinity.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Right? I guess, right? That's my entire point here is it didn't make sense because they didn't explain it, which if you're going to have a movie that's 95% exposition, maybe fucking explain the goddamn MacGuffin.
It's worse than that. Earlier in that movie, when they're trying to get Neo in the recreated hotel lobby scene with the chairs to take the pills, they talk about how the pill taking doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's an illusion of choice. Yeah,
it's just an illusion of choice.
And then later on, you have to take the pill.
No, she doesn't take the pill, she's going to die.
Aneurysm,
I'm also thinking if anybody can survive the process of not taking the pill to be pulled out of the Matrix, the two people that are already struggling with the concept that the Matrix is real and have been out of it already, they could probably handle it.
Yeah. They only managed to save humanity a couple times.
Yeah, they're pretty strong-willed. They could probably just give them a week.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Also, the cure for Neo's weird fucking robot hangover that he's having from the extra juice the robots are putting him in to keep him in the Matrix is Kung Fu.
I went to the bathroom. Yeah, I was like, I feel a fight scene coming on, and it lasted exactly the length of me going to pee. I came back and they're wrapping it up.
So they go into some kind of fucking dojo, which they did in the first movie. It was a callback to that.
Said I know what you need.
Yeah, I know what you need, and then transfers him.
You need to beat a black man.
Transfers him to a fucking dojo where they fight all of the first Matrix movie.
And he Goku's him.
Yeah, he Goku's him, and then he's fine after that.
That's how you do it. You pass out, you take a nap.
Mojo.
Just do some Kung Fu real quick, Neo, and you'll be cured.
So when you first started the rant on the stuff, and we mentioned the one-liners, and he makes that comment about I still know Kung Fu. That happens half an hour after he's already established that he very much knows Kung Fu.
Yeah.
He's fought Morpheus, he's fought Agent Smith, he's fought other bad guys and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's like, I still know Kung Fu. I'm like, dude, you're old, man. You're just now catching on to that.
They're 6 weeks into shooting production, shit, we forgot this line. We need to say it.
Just throw it in here.
Also, they allude to those rogue programs, which are the same ones they fought in Matrix Reloaded. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's the Merovingians fucking guys.
Yeah, they couldn't get the twins because they died.
Yeah. So they're fighting. Neo had a really fucking hard time with those guys in the last version of the Matrix. How are they Power Rangers bad guys here?
I want to know why.
Because they're sex crazed and hobo strong.
If you're a rogue program, you create your own reality because you know that you're a program existing in a fake universe. And you keep surviving. Why do you choose to attire yourself as a dirty carnival pigeon? We're all dirty carnival pigeons now.
Sticks.
So they straight up bring back the Merovingian, who you can't hear over the action happening.
Or the fact that he's talking at 100 miles an hour.
In a fight scene, and they introduce him for like literally a second and a half before suddenly he's cursing in like weird language. I'm like, having not seen, I saw the second one, mostly forgot, I haven't seen the third one. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. Like, oh shit, the hobo's here, and he's like, sacre bleu, and now I'm fighting you. The whole I like almost started laughing. I was so confused.
The Merovingian sounds like this, except for he's speaking like in a thick French accent. Okay. Fucking the Matrix. I can't do French.
Did you catch the last line he said before he walked off? It was something along the lines of like, "This is an unsanctioned sequel reboot." As he's walking off.
Really? He said that.
The level of fucking meta fourth wall breaking referencing of these things as like movies was so over the top, like nonsense in this movie.
And it happened nonstop. It was so that the meeting that Neo and Agent Smith had with their fucking like representatives from the Warner Brothers company who were producing their game.
It wasn't so much breaking the fourth wall as dropping trow and sliding their bare ass across it over and over again and making us listen to that fucking squeak for 2.5 hours.
They have a conversation where they say that Warner Brothers, their parent company, was going to create the Matrix 4 game with or without them. So they needed to sign on. Otherwise, they were going to lose their funding and everything they'd made so far. And it's like...
No importance to the plot, by the way.
None. Yeah, none.
None at all, because it was all fake anyways.
Yeah. Well, it just makes me wonder if that was just like the Wachowski... sister just being like, fuck you, Warner Brothers, for trying to make this movie without me.
I think said something along the lines of like, maybe she felt forced to make this movie and she's like, I'm just gonna phone it in and make some money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, fucking bravo, you did it perfect.
You did a great job, because that movie sucked.
If that is the case, then
what was the deal with that scene where like they're told that they have to reboot them or make a fourth Matrix game, and so they're having the game developers have these like powwow roundtable meetings. And I get that it's during a point where Neo's starting to like lose his grip on that reality. But as they're showing this, they keep showing these game developers, and a lot of the times they're saying the same things.
Or a very near variation. And what I have a headcanon idea. And that's because Neo killed himself every fucking day that was happening. So he had to keep like Groundhog Daying that fucking shit because it's
that would have been
there was
a
point where Neil Patrick Harris says something about him living the same day over and over again. It was either Neil Patrick Harris or somebody else.
Well, then they made the wrong movie. That's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Also, if you're trying to control this guy and not have him break out, pick a better day. Pick a day where he got like, I got a free muffin. This fucking chick gave me a handy.
Exactly.
And I got
not the one day where he has to remake the game he said he didn't want to ever remake again.
His boss yells at him. He finds out the girl he loves is married with kids. Like, that's a shitty day to keep where you're living.
Yeah. To be slightly fair, NBH's character did say that he was trying to cause trauma because it made more battery juice.
But
at that point, don't redo the same day. Relive the same 3 months where he slowly like has an affair with Tiffany, and right before they like kiss, he causes her own death or something. Right? Go full fucked up with it.
Yeah, just keep killing Trinity over and over again. I mean, that realistically would have been way more traumatic.
Also, Trinity, this is a reboot of the Matrix in the series. Trinity's husband is named Chad.
Yeah, another just banal fourth wall breaking thing.
Yeah, they call the guy Chad because he's kind of a Chad.
No, I literally, Josh leads over. It's like this Neo's fucking simping for Trinity, and I'm like, now he's about to cuck a Chad. And then like, so the weird thing is that they clearly don't. It's established they don't look like themselves to other people.
And their reflections look different.
But yet somehow Trinity still looks like her character from the video game because she herself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like,
I thought about that because you get a glimpse of what Trinity looks like in the Matrix, and she looks like an old lady with gray hair. Why is she married to Chad, who's 40 years her junior, and how is she?
He definitely wasn't that much younger than her. He's pretty old looking.
Well, we also have the problem where, like, if she sees herself for her current black hair state, but she's got old gray hair, like, Wouldn't that come up in conversation?
Yeah,
So I'm
at some
thinking of
point-
changing my hair from raven black to something else. What the fuck are you talking
Your
about?
hair's
You have
gray.
gray hair.
Yeah, you have gray hair.
You know?
Or like I look like this girl in this game.
Exactly.
No, you don't, you fucking old bitch.
She had a little speech where she says, "I look like that," and her husband said, "No,
Oh
you
my
don't."
God, that
she
makes-
got angry.
Yeah.
That
but-
makes so much more sense now. I was like, I mean, she would clearly look like Trinity from the game because she's Trinity.
So
from
they've
the
already
game.
implying that
Yeah,
like
oh
this,
my God,
this
dude.
causality could be a problem, but apparently it's the only time
Nah,
it's
that
happened.
was
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
also done really bad.
It's a stupid concept.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? If you already have HBO Max,
No.
watch Sopranos.
Yeah, dude.
Or fucking
go watch the Snyder cut
Yeah.
of Justice League.
Go watch
watch-
anything else on
Does
HBO Max.
slow-mo better.
yeah.
I didn't just dislike this movie. I
was,
hated this movie. And not just for what it did for the Matrix, for the waste of my time that it was.
Yeah.
Just it has no redeeming qualities.
It's been a while since I have sat in a movie and have thought multiple times, fuck, this movie is long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like just over and over again. I was like, God damn, this movie is
Dude,
long. Like,
it
what is going
dropped to credits and like wasn't even fully cut to black, and everybody's like, all right.
Yeah.
Did-
on? Like,
so
nobody's just fucking.
I almost stood up towards the end when they're fighting up towards that tower towards the end of the movie, and it's fucking nighttime, and they get to the top of the tower, and it's daytime. I like unconsciously said, "Oh, I guess it's daytime now," and I almost just stood up and walked out.
did you guys see, smell, or hear the goblin that I was sitting next to?
no.
Oh my god.
I was on the other side.
You
So-
have the worst movie theater.
Dude, I fucking hate the theater for the like almost always. The last couple trips have been nice, but we haven't been surrounded by disgusting people. So she smelled like not like BO or anything, but like super musty, like a dog that has been in the rain all day. She took her fucking shoes off, which did smell in halfway through the fucking movie. She also, I don't know if she was snoring or having a hard time breathing, but so was the lady
did-
directly in front of
did.
me.
The lady that
I heard
walked
that.
up.
I heard that old lady walking by.
At one point in the movie, she just stood up for
Yeah.
like 30
Had
seconds,
to
like
breathe.
right
I
in front of
almost
the.
was just
Yeah.
like just die already.
She sounded like she was dying. I felt kind of bad. Did you hear the clink of her oxygen tank as she was coming back
no,
out from
I
the
didn't.
bathroom? Yeah.
No, I did not.
Also, she laughed at a really weird time at the beginning of the movie, and I don't remember what that was.
She doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
She doesn't.
Had nitrous in her O2 tank. I don't know.
The funny thing is like we didn't laugh at times that the audience was laughing, and like we weren't like ooh. There was no oohs from us during the
Yeah.
film, but I was hearing laughter at times where I think we were just cringing.
Yeah.
You got a couple.
I was
chuckles
getting
out of it.
progressively angrier and angrier as that
Me
movie
too.
went on. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is so frustratingly bad.
At one time, I felt dozy, and that'll sometimes happen because I'm an old man. My feet are up, and I was like, I hit the chair heater, and I lean over.
Consumed 4/5 of a bag of popcorn in a fucking
Yeah,
bag of
lean over.
margarita.
Body's
See
in
the
emergency
chair heater
shutdown mode.
off.
Oh, also,
It's just the movie making me sleepy because it.
the goblin woman next to me was leaned so far into my seat that I was in Andy's seat. Like for most of the movie, I had my arm over his share of the armrest. I felt
Okay.
so bad for him because I know that he was just like making himself small during the movie.
There's plenty of room for. He's also small.
He's a small person, yes, but I mean, just like no, like she literally is sprawled out, fucking shoes off. And
Gotta
just
try
out.
out that must.
I
homie.
guess, dude, that must have been what I was smelling was her spread.
No, I think the good like precursor to us going into the movie theater to be like, this is probably not gonna be a great time, is when the concessions line was crazy long.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then as we're standing there in the alcoholic line to get some beverages, and I watched that woman in front of us call her husband and her 2 kids out of the primary concession line to our short alcoholic line, because that way they didn't have to wait as long, so they could all order their regular concession stuff from the alcoholic food line.
Man.
And the guy that wanted to chat with us but was talking way too fucking quietly the whole time. Dude, yeah, the guy is just trying to talk to us and like, what movie you guys seeing? And it's like, what?
The
Sorry,
random
what?
kid that tried to buy his place into our line
Yeah.
with Andrew. Yeah.
And then the poor little girl that slipped and fell in the
in the Pepsi.
fucking Pepsi puddle. Oh my God.
Matrix trying to tell us not to watch
Dude,
it.
yeah, everything before this movie told us that we shouldn't have gone and seen this movie.
Yep.
We were late.
Yep.
We were wet. The people, like, the line for the concessions was like a mile long. Ugh.
Surprised me. There's a couple that came up 40 minutes into the movie.
I saw them
and
I was
asked
like,
me if we were saving those seats, and I was like,
No, those seats were reserved.
I was like, are you just stealing seats like halfway through a movie?
They might have jumped. Their movie might have ended, and they just like, let's go watch the rest of this movie. We used to do that.
It's baffled me. We're so far into it already.
The only reason why I didn't escape the Goblin Woman is because I had checked to see what the seating looked like, and we were fully surrounded with
other
bookings.
seats,
So I was like, well, I can't just jump over there to those empty seats. Should have.
Yeah.
My God. Oh, that lady.
Well, rant over.
Yeah, that's where we got to wrap it up. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
Don't give them your money.
Yeah.
Vote with your wallet.
Just don't go watch it. It's a fucking train wreck. If you want to watch it ironically, wait until it's out. Like, I guess it's on HBO Max, right?
Yeah.
Get some friends so you can mock it the whole time. Like,
Wait for the YouTube post.
Honestly,
Sonic the Hedgehog was a better movie than that.
100%.
the first 3 movies are also on HBO Go. Just watch those.
There you go.
Just watch those.
I think it stands. You watch the first Matrix movie, you forget everything else.
Yeah, sure. That too.
That's fine.
That's what I got to say. We will be watching. Nick's already seen Spider-Man, but we will go watch
you post?
Spider-Man. At least Josh and I will go.
Oh,
watch
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
watch
definitely down to
Go
watch Spider-Man.
Fucking
Yeah, I'll watch Spider-Man. Yeah, let's do that. All right, guys. I want to thank real quick Obtuse Rubber Goose in chat. Subscribed to Twitch.
Thank the goose.
Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much, man.
And it's elastic cloaca.
We appreciate you. I feel like I had other announcements. Oh, yeah. So we have talked about taking a break pretty soon. I'll get the dates on that. But probably like a 2-week break. One thing I really want to do is I want to get away from Streamlabs OBS. So I've got to get it all imported to OBS. And I want to change some things around as far as our graphics and imagery and stuff go.
Could probably take that time to do a little bit of set managing now that we have more space in the apartment. Too.
Yep, exactly. So we have some stuff that we need to do, background stuff. It's going to take a little bit of time to get finished. So we're thinking about the days that we would normally record, getting in here, setting things up the way we want it, changing the graphics and layout, and just trying to give you as good of an experience as we can muster up. So, just wanted to give you a heads up. We'll give you final dates on that coming soon, hopefully next week.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank
Have a wonderful
you.
night.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for
Grandpa loves
listening.
you.
We'll see you next time.